Okay, I was scrolling on Reddit today and I found something that I absolutely had to share. I'm just gonna go ahead and read this to you. I'm so anxious about this whole shutdown. My husband's a veteran using his GI Bill for school, which that's affected, and we get food stamps since I'm disabled and he's in school. My 6-month-old is starting purees. Yes, we get WIC, but still, I don't know how we're going to pay rent, let alone our other bills and get food. I'm just at my wit's end and I'm overwhelmed. We're almost out of formula. He asked his mother to buy a can until our WIC comes in. Her response was, "We voted for this." Now, I obviously cut out some of the fluff, but here are some of the most important details. You voted for a man who wanted to cut all of these social services while yourself are not on one, not two, but 4 different social services yourself. The GI Bill, food stamps, WIC, and disability, you are all on. And now you're shocked about what's going on. And this is something I will never understand about the conservative Republican mindset. They're fine getting government assistance or socialism when it comes to them and their family, but God forbid another family in need uses the exact same services and it's all scorched earth for them. And your mother-in-law was right on the dime. Y'all got what you voted for.
When the fuck did coffee become $22 to $28?
How do you not know? How are you also this guy?
I believe we are living in the time of the greatest leader of my time, anyway. I can't look away. Every day is something better and better to look forward to.
But you do not know what you voted for. I mean, tariffs were at the forefront of Trump's plan the whole time. And every economist, even normal people like me who trusted the economists to know what they were talking about, told you that you were voting for someone who was going to worsen the economy and raise the prices on things. How do you not know? How are you MAGA, but you are also surprised that everything is more expensive months into Trump's presidency? That's the part where I get lost. I don't understand how you don't know what you voted for. And unfortunately, that is a epidemic among MAGA voters. They just thought they were owning the libs. They put their hate for people on the left in front of their own economic priorities. What a shame.
How am I supposed to explain to my 3-year-old that her dad might...
Oof, that is a tough one. How are you going to explain to your 3-year-old that you voted for her father to be taken away? How are you going to explain to your 3-year-old you voted for racism? How are you going to explain that? Are you understanding the consequences of your actions now? Now, for your child's sake, I genuinely hope you can find a way to help your husband. Because it shouldn't be happening to anyone. But do you understand? Tell me now you understand. Please. Please tell us now you understand. They're not going after criminals. They're going after your husband. People like your husband. You got what you voted for. Congratulations.
I did my part. I did my part when it came to making sure that none of this stuff happened. I did not want massive amounts of illegal immigrants or legal immigrants or anybody to be deported just because, they didn't have the right skin tone. My heart goes out to the people that voted for Kamala because they are suffering for no fault of their own.
Hatred does not pay. When you vote for policies meant to hurt other people, you shouldn't be surprised if those same policies eventually hurt you too. They celebrated mass deportations, tariffs, and cuts to social programs, but now those same policies are now affecting their own families and their community. So let's get to see more, and let me know thoughts in the comments, and I appreciate your support, all right? Let's get into it.
The campaign that Trump ran in this last election was everything I was told growing up. I was absolutely an echo chamber of the things that I grew up hearing. So a lot of what I would say, even out loud, and I'll admit it now, so ignorant because we didn't have the full picture of what the world looked like. Trying to unlearn and relearn all of the things I was ever told growing up was extremely difficult. And I started uncovering the fact that maybe I didn't know anything about anything and that I needed to educate myself. I did not think that I was educated enough to cast a vote on anything. I'm gonna tell the story about my husband being taken by ICE in the middle of our green card interview.
So what happened with this woman is becoming so common that it might as well just be a play in 3 acts. Act 1, person advocates for horrible outcomes to happen to other people. Act 2, oops, it happens to you instead and affects your life. Act 3, they look for sympathy and understanding from the people who warned them the whole time. The horrible things that you are advocating for are going to happen and they are bad. Now, I'm not here to jump up and down on this chick for what happened to her. What I'm here to do is to address a particular kind of comment that you saw in the comments of her video, and that you see whenever these people have their Act 3 come to Jesus moment, when they start asking for sympathy, and the response from a lot of the public is just a big, thick, girthy one of these. Like clockwork, those people in the comments will say, she's trying, let her come to Jesus. It begins with understanding, hear her story, lend sympathy. Let me tell you why, as a professional black person, why so many people aren't hearing that stuff. Let me give you just the best example I can possibly think of. This dude right here, you remember him? This is Skylar the farmer. He briefly became internet famous because he got some farmer welfare under Biden. And then when Trump came into office, Trump said, give me that bag, son. And then he said, oh, you some of my, and then he took to the internet, much like this woman did. You know, this guy cheerleaded for what Trump said he was going to do. And then Trump went and did it. And then when he did it, it affected him. And he went, I didn't think it was going to affect me. Then he goes onto the internet and he starts looking for sympathy and saying the bad stuff that happened to him. And then people responded to him, I voted for farmers. How come you didn't vote for farmers? And he went, hey, look, I know what I did, blah, 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 blah. The way the story ends is exactly the way you think it does. Trump eventually gave him his money, and then he went right back to being Skylar 1.0. This is what usually happens at the end of that Act 3, where they're looking for sympathy and telling their story, and it seems like they just might be this close to a fundamental change. They get made whole, things get made right, like Farmer Skylar gets his money. This chick, her husband maybe gets out of ICE jail. As soon as the injustice that was affecting them stops, they snap back to their original shape. And the reason you see so many people, especially people who look like me, refusing to give people like her, people like Skylar, any kind of grace or space is because we study y'all our whole lives, because we have to. We can't be successful in life if we don't understand how white folks operate, because y'all have the power. We have to submit to your norms. We have to understand you. And what we have understood over centuries of being around you and having to tap dance around you is that the problem is white culture, which we joke all the time. It's like just putting like raisins and mayonnaise in places that it doesn't belong. But being perfectly serious for a hot minute, the thing that characterizes white American culture versus anything else is this terminal individualism. Oh, I gotta go. Hold up. Hey, white folks have an almost profound inability to understand how actions that they commit against a person come back and eventually affect them. Hey, Native folks, black folks, certain immigrant communities have been so thoroughly marginalized, ostracized, and de-resourced that we kind of had to understand that we all together are all we've got in order to survive. So there's kind of an easier ability for us to be like, okay, we need to be more community minded and sometimes subordinate our individual immediate needs to what the group needs. But I'm telling you, from experience, most white people cannot do that. Even the ones that call themselves progressives can't do it. Now, some of them can, but most of them can't. And we don't have the luxury of waiting to see if we'll be pleasantly surprised by this white lady being one of the good ones. Because bro, y'all are not the protagonists in our stories. If we're wrong about you, we suffer. And we're not willing to suffer anymore, giving you the benefit of the doubt so that you can feel like maybe you're one of the good ones. That abusive husband hits you and he swears he'll never do it again. And it was his daddy that hit him and hit his mama and his sisters. And he just feels so bad. Bro, I wish you all the luck in the world on your recovery journey. But A, I'm never going to let you forget what you did, and B, I'm not going to be anywhere near punching distance in the event you fail.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on all the Trump voters who said that they picked him because they were better off 4 years ago, or immigration or economics, or that all of the bad shit that he says, that's all just personality issues. It's fucking bullshit. Because even if you believed those things to be true for a second, after hearing all of the insane shit that he said about women and refugees and immigrants, you would go and look it up to make sure. You would do a couple of Google searches to make sure that the shit you think is true about him outweighs the truly fucking atrocious things he said about American citizens. And I know that in a matter of a few minutes, you would find out that Republican and Democratic economists agree that Trump's plans for the economy are shit. You would also find out in a matter of moments that he tanked the border bill purposely so that he could run on racism. And in the process, you'd find out that everyone who's ever worked with him, Republicans and Democrats alike, agree that he's a shit leader. So which is it, Trump voters? Is it reckless negligence or intentional negligence? We actually have to get to the bottom of this. This isn't oops, I took the last donut in the break room negligence. This is oops, I spilled a barrel of gasoline and accidentally dropped a cigarette on it in the break room negligence. This is can't disown negligence. This is you're losing relationships with family members negligence. This is if you're wrong, your country fucking fails negligence. You can try all you want, but we will not be gaslit into believing anything else.
He says, but it's okay for you Democrats and you left-wingers to go after Donald Trump for all he's doing to making America great again. No, he's not. He's not making America great at all. There's nothing. He's got us in a war, spending billions of dollars, wasting it across the sea, and we have people here at home that are struggling, that are hungry, that are homeless. Our infrastructure is falling apart. We have people in need right here. And all Donald Trump is doing is spending money on weapons. Yeah, that's not taking care of people here at home. Left-wingers? Left-winger just means you care about people. That's all it means. And trust me when I tell you, he doesn't give a damn about you. You know how I know? He hasn't done a single thing for you, and he won't.
A MAGA burned out light bulb come after me and say that I was mean, I was nasty, and some other things I can't say on here on TikTok because I was explaining what they voted for was not what they thought they were going to get, and that I hope they get everything they did vote for. Clearly, they don't understand when they voted for Trump. They don't understand what they voted for. They're all in that F around and find out stage right now. They don't realize that they voted for potential cuts to Social Security. They don't realize they voted for potential cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. They don't realize they voted to potential cuts to their SNAP program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. All these programs that aid them, they don't realize they voted to cut the Department of Education that helps fund 14 to 18% of the budgets, especially in red rural states where the rural schools need money and the red states are not going to fund this. They don't know many of the things they voted for, but they don't mind coming after you and get really, really, really upset and say, well, that's not what they voted for, but it is what you voted for. And I hope you get every bit of it because you deserve everything you voted for.
For many years, many Americans want that policies built on punishment, they don't stop with the people they are meant to target. Public policy doesn't ask who you voted for before it affects you. Rising prices doesn't check whether you wore a MAGA hat, Same with tariffs and the cuts to social programs. But now Trump voters are now expressing regret because things have become expensive than they expected. They thought that the same policies they voted for would affect someone else. Now some are worrying about healthcare, gas prices, and even housing costs. They believed that they would receive the benefits while other people suffered. They only thought about themselves. They never stopped to think it could be my relative, my friend, or my community that will be affected, you see? And that this should be a lesson to MAGA that elections have real consequences. They should have examined policies carefully rather than assuming the consequences will fall on someone else. Most Americans, they share the same priorities, regardless of race, religion, or political affiliation. They all want affordable groceries, stable housing, affordable healthcare, secure jobs, safe neighborhoods, and opportunities for their children. But most campaigns, they encourage people to focus on culture wars or even identity-based issues instead of focusing on the real challenges that are affecting them. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.